Hello everyone, welcome to HCH Coloring. My name is Heidi. Today we are doing part 12 of my completed pages catch-up videos, and it's really exciting because today is the last one. This is going to cover, let's see, April, May, June, and July of 2026. So we'll be caught up, and that's exciting. I can just go back to a normal schedule, hopefully do completed pages every month and some other videos, which I'll have to figure out. But yeah, so I have 4 months here. It's kind of a lot. I'm gonna try not to spend too much time on each one, so this video won't be super long. Yeah, and I just want to thank everyone for watching, for your comments and your likes, and the new subscribers. I really appreciate you all, and yeah, just happy you're here. So let's get started with the video. So the first one I have is In a Million Hugs and Kisses by Lulu Mayo. I have 2 pages in here. I have this cute little page, and this was done with pencils, almost all just pencils, like for the base, for the main coloring. And then I do have some gold paint pen there, and some white Jelly Roller Posca for the highlights on those little trees, but mostly it's all pencil. And then I also have this page here. I love this page. Actually, I love both of these pages. The little otters and seals, so cute. This is all pencil as well. And I don't think I have anything else. I think it's all pencil. And I'll just bring it up a little bit. Oh, so cute. But I really like how the colors came out in this, and yeah, I really liked how that came out. So that was A Million Hugs and Kisses. And this is A Million Sweet Things by Lulu Mayo. And I did this page. This was a little bit of a experimental page. It's based with matte medium, and then I went in with alcohol markers, which doesn't bleed through when you've got matte medium as a base, but it acts, like a totally different medium. It acts more like a water-based marker. It's interesting. Yeah, try it out if that interests you at all. It's very different. There's watercolor down at the bottom, and the stuff in the background is watercolor with some gold paint pen, and I think some white, maybe not. So I thought that turned out cute. It's In a Million Sweet Things. And then I have one in Little Spooky by Coco Wayo. And I did this page. So this was different from my normal. This is actually crayons. This is Bic, Crayola, and Neocolor 1 crayons as a base, and then it's blended out with Burt's Bees. It's very weird, but yeah, I saw a video by Maria. It was a short where she uses Vaseline, like her lip gloss or lip chapstick, as a coating, and then she blends it out, and I thought that was really interesting. So I only have Burt's Bees, so I use that, and it works really well. just show you some of the details. And I blended it out with a blending stump, which I found worked the best for me. So I really, really enjoyed that process. I'm going to do more of that. It's a good way of using your crayons and getting some, you know, some deeper, more intense color. And there is some pencil on top, so you can go over the top with pencil, which is also exciting. And there's a little bit of sparkly glitter glue on the moon and stuff. So that was a little spooky. And Little Cuddles, this is just this intro page, and I did the same thing. This is with crayons and pencils and blended out with the Burt's Bees, and the words are alcohol markers. And then I use pencil on top. So yeah, that is cute. I've got a page in Cozy Cuties. This is also Cocoa Wyo. Oh, actually I have 2 pages in here. I did this one, and I really love how this one came out. I took my time with the color choices and everything, and I did some special effects like this little blanket here. I love how that came out. I tried to make it, you know, like a fancy pattern. And I also did like a granite table, and it actually came out pretty well, the granite effect, I felt like. And yeah, I just really like this page. I like the balance of the colors and how everything worked out. And then I also did this page, this cute little, I don't know what she is, a poodle maybe, sheepdog. Alcohol markers. This border that I decided to do, I felt like it needed something as a border. That is acrylic paint. That pink is an acrylic paint base. And then I used paint pens to do the little cherries and the hearts all around. And I used one of those books, I think it's the Cocoa Wyo pattern book, that give you like suggested patterns to do. And so yeah, I feel like it kind of competes with the picture a little bit, but I still like it. I think it's cute, and it was a lot of fun to do. So those were in Cozy Cuties. And I have a page in Cozy Forest. This is by Creative Paula. She has a YouTube channel where she does a lot of different things, but I like her. And this book is kind of like this, these little creatures that she's created. They're very cute. So I did this page. This is alcohol marker base with pencils and white Posca. The background is alcohol markers with dragonfly glaze on top. So that was a lot of fun in Cozy Forest. And then I have a page in Snuggly Friends, Fairy Tale Edition by Nina Bluma. And this is a little busier than the usual Cute and Cozy. It's the Frog Prince fairy tale. On this one, I used alcohol markers as base, and then no pencils, but there's acrylic marker for some of these details. In the bushes, on the grass, I added little flowers. There's some glitter glue. I don't know if you can see it, but on the dragonflies and the butterfly. Yeah, I was glad how that came out. I like it. Oh, you can see some of the shine. Maybe. That was in Snuggly Friends. And then I did a page in Lonely Pumpkin Had a Great Fall by Usiku. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. I did this page here. And this one was, this was a lot of fun. This one was inspired by Anne Hatfield. I was watching a lot of Anne Hatfield's videos around this time, like May and June. And she had a video where I don't know I can't remember what it was, like completed pages maybe, where she showed how she used rainbow pencils. And I had never thought of that before, so I got myself some rainbow pencils, and I was looking through this book and thought this would be perfect for that, to use on this long scarf. It's called Endless Knit, I think. Yeah, Endless Knit. So I used the rainbow pencils and just went in order so that it was like a continuing pattern. And just some cheap rainbow pencils from Amazon. And I used, I think I just used pencils for the rest of the coloring on the character and the little ghosties. The background is an acrylic marker, and then I went over that with pencil for some shading. And some maybe stickles on the stars, I think. So I'll just bring it up just a little bit. And so I've got some other stuff later in the video too that was inspired by Anne. So it was an Anne Hatfield couple of months for me. So this was in Lonely Pumpkin Had a Great Fall. And this is not a huge deal. This is just a tiny little page in Yoga Animals So Cute by Kim Parrish. I just did this. I was trying out something, some watercolors. So the base, I based it with watercolor, and then I went over that with pencils, and I think that's it. Yeah, watercolor and pencils. But it turned out cute, I thought. And then in Pop Manga Paint and Ink by Camilla D'Erico, I did this page. And this was with, since it's designed to use, it's single-sided, it has like watercolor friendly paper. I decided to do something a little different, so I used some fountain pen ink samples that I have that have just been kind of sitting around for a while. So I used them like watercolor basically, and just tried to get some cool effects with it. This is also the same fountain pen inks. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see the sheen. It's like one of those inks that has like a sheen in it. I hope that shows up. And then I went over the top of that with pencil to do the shading and some additional color and everything. Yeah, and I'm fairly happy with how this came out. I feel like there may not be quite enough highlight on the dragons, but I still like it. Yeah. So that was in Pop Manga Paint and Ink. Oops. Okay, and then I have a couple things in Mermaids in Wonderland by Marcos Chin. This book is out of print. This one is one that I got used on eBay, and there was some stuff colored in it, so I've been gradually working through it and covering up those pages because I hate having colored pages in my books. And it's also falling apart. is not great, but I'd rather have this book in this condition than not have it at all. So I did this double page spread. This part had been colored in. This whole headdress and part of her face and hair and everything. And this part too had been colored in, and whoever did it was like really, really heavy-handed and was just like scraping. So you can actually see the indents on the other side. I don't know if you can see that. That's how hard they were going. So it was kind of a challenge to cover up. So I erased as much as I could, and then I just went over it with water-based markers. I used the Uhuhu water-based markers, the brush pen ones, for the basing on everything except for the octopus. I think that was the only thing where I just used pencil. And then I went over the top with Prismacolors, and you know, I thought about how to tie everything in together, all the colors, and I think it worked really well. Oh, you can, here, let's get it in frame completely. I did this because these crabs are here. I felt like it really needed to have a seafloor because they wouldn't be just floating in the water. So I drew in this seafloor here and did some sand and you know, a little bit of shading there. And the background is just a metallic marker, like from the Dollar Tree. And I think that works. I thought about trying to do like a fancier background with, like, you know, moving water currents and everything, but I was like, I don't know if I have the energy, and I didn't want it to compete with what else was going on. So I actually think this works out nicely in the end. Yeah, so that was one of my pages here, and I think this is probably my favorite out of this in this video. And I have to be careful how I move the pages so I don't like damage it. And then this page here, this is actually a double page spread, but they ripped a page out. So I was just left with this page here. And also they did some coloring of some sort, and there were like blotches. You can still see them. There's like little blotches everywhere, and I just kind of had to ignore that. This bottom part was black already. So I used some granulating watercolor in the background, and on the sea serpent, I went for kind of like a monotone, kind of purple blue color scheme on the mermaids, and then tried to create this effect where it looks like it's, you know, under the water here, and then a little bit brighter up out of the water, and I think that worked. So this was, yeah, and I used a lot of pencil shading over the top of the watercolor. And then I put dragonfly glaze over that black on the bottom, and then over the top of that I went in with some King Art gel crayons to do these, like, you know, ocean currents, to make it look like there's some movement there. But really happy with how that one came out too. So those were the two in Mermaids in Wonderland by Marcus Chin. And then I have a page in Vintage Classic Coloring Pages 3 by Tatiana Bogema-Stolova. This page was, the way I did this and everything was inspired by T from T's World of Adult Coloring. Hi, T. She, in a recent completed pages video, she was talking about how she did use the random number generator to pick the page in the book, pick the color palette from the color cube and, you know, let everything be random. I thought that was a really interesting idea because I have so many books too. Sometimes it's hard to choose what I'm going to do next. So that's what I did. Everything was random. And this is what I came up with. It picked like a red, actually exactly what you see here, like dark red, red, orange, yellow palette from one of the color cubes. And so I just did what did my best with it. There's some gold gel pen on here. There's pencil for shading. There's pearlescent glitter glue over the background, like a brown, on top of this really dark brown alcohol marker. I have a gold frame around the whole thing. But yeah, I was pretty happy with how this came out. I was a little bit stumped to begin with how to approach it, but you know, it came out in the end, I think. So thank you, T, for that idea. And that was in Vintage Classic Coloring Pages 3. And then I've got a page in Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. This is also another one of my favorites for this time. I did this page. And let me think back. What did I do here? I used jelly gouache to base all the berries, all the leaves, just like basically one color, sort of a mid-tone. And then I went in and added the shadows and highlights for that. The little mice are just pencil, and the flowers too, I think. And then the background was Inktense pencils. And I worked to get this gradient so that the lightest part of the page would be where the little mice are, so they would show up. But this was so much fun to do. I really, really got into it. I like how these berries came out too. There might be some shiny, I don't remember exactly what I did. But yeah, really happy with that one. And that was in Daydreams. And then the next one is in Art Therapy Star Wars. This is a book I got used a long time ago. I've had this for years and years and haven't colored in it. And I finally did a page. I did this one here. This little guy was always my favorite. One of my favorite parts of The Empire Strikes Back. He's like the little sidekick to Jabba the Hutt. But what I learned is that he actually has a name and a job, and his name is Salacious B. Crumb, and he is the jester. He's Jabba the Hutt's jester. And I thought that was hilarious. So I decided to do this one. This book is like Art Nouveau Star Wars. It's got mandalas, it's got, stuff like this, which I like. I think it's a really cool idea. So, I use watercolors as a base for, I think pretty much everything. The background here, I think that's a water-based marker. Maybe this is also water-based marker on this green, but all of this was watercolors, and then I went over the top with some pencil. to, you know, emphasize certain things, give it some shading. And I also use some Languo gel pens, the fine ones. I used a gold to go in and on those lines on the flowers, because they were so small, you really needed something tiny to get in there. But yeah, I'm really happy with my Salacious Bee Crumb page. And that was in Art Therapy Star Wars. And then I have a page in Zemla Snova, I think that's how you pronounce it, Zemla or something like that, by Tomislav Tomic. And this is a book, I have his other book too, which I've done a page in. But this book I hadn't really worked in much, so I wanted to do something in here. I'm kind of, yeah, I wouldn't say intimidated exactly. It's just like, they're just so beautiful. I want to be in the right state of mind, you know, when I sit down and color them, because I just want them to turn out really nicely. So I went for this page, which is fairly simple. So the darker background here and the letters, that's watercolor. And then I went over the top with pencil. I think I used light fast pencils on this one, if I remember. Yeah, so just basically pencil over watercolor base. And there's also some Jelly Roll glaze. I don't know if you're going to be able to see on these little red dots here. So, but they're so small, you really can't see the effect. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that. And Zemla Snova. In Kawaii Cuties, this is you know, one of the Shutterstock books. I did this birthday cake page in May for my birthday month. And this was alcohol markers with pencil shading. I have stipples on the stars. And again, this was the Art Pop markers that stained. It kind of ruined the back page, which makes me really annoyed. And this page, which didn't go through, but yeah. So, but I really do like how this came out. It's fairly simple, you know, just simple fun. That was in Kawaii Cuties. And then I have a page in Fedorals, Cute and Creepy by Selena Fennick. And this was a page from Mermaid. I did this one, it's called Siren Song. And this was almost exclusively alcohol markers. There's some paint pen down here on the water. There's a little bit of pencil shading like here. But mostly I tried to do all the shading and everything with alcohol markers. I'm kind of learning from the Cute and Cozy books. And I kind of did my own thing there on the sun. And I tried to get this like kind of sickly green sky. I wanted it to be, you know, a little bit creepy looking to match the theme, and I think that came across. I like how the water turned out here. This was a fun page and a pretty quick page since it was all alcohol markers. So that was in Fadorables, Cute and Creepy. And then I have one in Mermaid Hair, Queens of the Sea. This is Deborah Muller. And this was another one that was inspired by Anne Hatfield, because I've been seeing a lot of Deborah Muller on her channel, and I used to sort of feel like Deborah Muller was not really my thing, but I've been kind of getting into it. I really like some of her books. So I did this page, the first page in here, and this was alcohol markers as base with pencil on top. And then I used some, I've got some dragonfly glaze in the background to create that shimmery look. There's some gold paint pen. I put some, I don't remember if that, I think I put the dragonfly glaze on her eyes too. And on that shell. Either that or it's pearlescent glitter glue. And some paint markers here for the details. But yeah, I was really happy with how this page came out. That was also for Mermaid. And then another Deborah Muller page. This is Dragons in the Garden. This is a more recent book. And I did this page. This is a cute book. It's like little dragons and garden scenes. So this was my first page in here. I drew in the bottom. I think it was just kind of, they just ended here, if I recall. Yeah. It's alcohol marker base, pencil on top. I also use some paint marker, like acrylic markers, to do some of the stuff, like on the chest here, some of that highlight, and on the wings. The background is just pencil because I wanted to keep these highlights, you know, little, I don't know what they're supposed to be, fireflies maybe. And so I just kind of use pencil because it's easier to be more controlled with it and everything. To do that shading and work around those little light spots. But yeah, I was happy with that one too. It was really, really fun. And Dragons in the Garden. And then I have Fanciful Birds by Angela Porter. And I just did this. This is a fairly quick, easy page with alcohol markers. This was for my birthday. It's Happy Bird Day. And I have some, I tried to do this thing with stickles here and it didn't really work, but it's okay. So, yeah, this is just alcohol markers, pencil on top. There's some paint pen. There's some stickles. Yeah, just a fun, relatively easy page. And Fanciful Birds. And then I have a page in Boho Bugs by Joe Taylor. This is a fairly new book. I think it came out in 2025. And new to me too. So I did this page, which I love. I love how bright and colorful this one is. This one is alcohol markers, pencil shading. Some of it is, I use the rainbow pencils. You can see like here, the blues and purples one. And I think that adds a really cool effect to the page. What else is on there? Some gold paint pen. That's about it. So yeah, I was super happy with that one. Boho Bugs. Now I need to reach for my second stack of books. Okay. I have a page in Autumnal Wood Enchanted Creatures. I did this page, the shy page, shy little mushroom guy. Let's see, what was this? I started out coloring the mushroom with crayons. So I think it was a combination again of Crayolas, Bics, and Neocolor 1. I didn't use anything to blend them in. It was just crayons. And I think there might be some pencil in there too. Or maybe not, maybe that's just Neocolor 1 for the darker, more intense color. And then the background is gel crayons. I used both the King Arts and the Mr. Pen gel crayons to get a variety of different colors in these kind of concentric circles. And then I used Prismacolor pencils over the top of that to get some just more interesting color going on and a little bit of a gradient between the different layers, which actually worked fairly well. The Prismacolors over the top of that. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. A little bit of an experiment. And Autumnal Wood Enchanted Creatures. And then I've got this one. This isn't a big deal. Calming Coloring for Kids. I just did this little intro page. I've been wanting to do like little things these past few months. This is illustrated by Marisha Bell. So I've been doing a lot of these little intro pages. This is a base of watercolor with pencil on top for shading, and then in the background I just did some, what am I saying? Pencil, color pencil, just a suggestion of sky, just to anchor it a little bit. That was in Calming Coloring for Kids. And another little one in Grains of Gold. I just did the little intro page. One Morning. That was just pencil, I think. I don't know. I don't think there's anything shiny on here, but I thought that turned out pretty cute. And then I got a few pages in Mini Pusheen. These are experimental pages. I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time explaining what I did because this video is just getting too long. So I'll just show you quickly what I did. I did this page. This was just trying out those rainbow pencils. It's kind of like a swatch page. Oops, skipped one. This page, this was alcohol markers on a base of matte medium, essentially. And then this page, this is a recent one. This was matte medium with pencils on top and Staedtler pigment markers. Those are in Mini Pusheen. And then I've got a page in The Art of Mandala. This is kind of like an experimental, like I don't care that much kind of book. I did the dolphin page. The background was the experimental part. It was acrylic inks blended with water, like watered down, applied with a brush. And it went through. Just so that you know, when you do it, if you do just the acrylic inks, they don't go through, but if you use water, it goes through the page. And then I went over the top with a lot of pencils to blend everything in. And then the dolphin itself, that is just pencil and some Language gel pens for the little patterns. And then I have another one, the thing fell out, this page in the back of the book. This was, for the longest time, this was just like a page where I went to just try things out. It was like, just like scrap paper or something. And I tried out different techniques, different little things here and there. And eventually it got to the point where I just thought, you might as well just finish this page, just turn it into something. So I finished it off. I don't even know what all is on here, just a ton of different stuff. But I kind of like how that came out. And those were in the Art of Mandala. I have one page in Folk Art Scandinavia, created by Victoria Chukalina. This is on pretty nice heavy paper, single-sided, and I did this page sometime probably in May, beginning of May. This is alcohol markers, I think the Bic markings, and ultrafine Sharpies. And I put my color palette at the bottom. Pretty straightforward and simple. I think that's all it was. Oops. Folk Art Scandinavia. And the next one is in Flowers and Dreams by C.L. Aldridge. This is a book that I had for so many years. I can't even, here, let's see. This is a 2019. I got this in 2019 and had never colored in it. I've reached for it many times and just was not in the mood. And finally the day came and I did a page in here. They are, I mean, they're like this. Flowers in kind of a symmetrical pattern. So it's kind of up my alley, but for some reason I never felt like working in it. So finally I did this page. This is an alcohol marker base. It is pencil on top, and then I've got some paint pen for the embellishments. There's gold paint pen there. Yeah, that's pretty much all it is, but I really like this color scheme. Yeah, I was happy with how that came out. In Flowers and Dreams by C.L. Aldridge. And then in Balance by Angie Grace. This is the book I'm working in front to back and trying to finish someday in the future. This is the latest page. So we're caught up. This one was water-based markers of some sort. And the center part, I started out doing it with some ballpoint pens, some colored ballpoint pens, and I was kind of not liking how they were working or something, and I switched to the water-based markers. I don't think there's any pencil shading. I think it's just marker. That was in Balance. And then we've got one in mind. Oh, I have more than one. This is Mindful Zendalas by Julia Snegarepa. And I was looking through this book and realizing there were some pages I don't think I showed. I don't know what happened. Maybe I didn't put them in my list, or maybe I just forgot that I showed them. So if I already have, I apologize. This page, I don't think I showed you guys. It's got a bunch of different gel pens and water-based markers, I think. Paint pens. This page, again, it's got like Jelly Roll glaze. You can see water-based markers. No, alcohol markers. And this one, I don't think I've shown this one. This is a more recent one. It's this one. Alcohol markers, gel pens, and then this one. And this one was, let's see, what was this? That was also alcohol markers, pencil shading, and gel pens. So now I think you're caught up with everything that I've done in this book. And then I did a page in 50 Animal Mandalas by such and such Deva. I did the flamingos. And this one, in this book, I have decided to just use my own colors, I don't follow that. So yeah, I just went for a warm color palette. I think this was alcohol markers with pencil shading. And then I used some, I think I used some gel pens in there, I don't know. But yeah, that was fun. I think that was in June, early summer. And then I've got a page in the Flora Chang Happy Doodles. And this one is, I kind of call this the Mexican turtle in my head. And this is all just pencil. And a little bit of white Posca. So I like that one. And then I have a couple pages in this one, UFOs, UAPs, and Other Extraterrestrials. This was a book that I got on Book Outlet. This is just like a Shutterstock book. I don't like it. I don't like the images for the most part. Like, it's just not, whoops. It's just not, I don't know. Some of them are okay, but most of them I don't like. And the cover is like totally smashed. So I decided to use this as my kind of experimental book when I'm trying stuff out. So I did, let's see, let me show you the one that I did first. So this was the first one. The experimental part of it was the background, which was tempera paint sticks. I was just testing out how I could use them in a page and decided to try those for the background here. There's also alcohol markers over the top. The center part is alcohol marker base with pencil shading. There's some pearlescent glitter glue on the yellow parts. There's white Posca on the clouds and for the stars. And that's pretty much it. And by the way, I do like how this came out. I mean, I think that was a fairly successful experiment. I like that effect. This is another one where I was continuing to try out using crayons blended in with Burt's Bees. So that's what this background is there. Actually, I think the whole thing was done like that. Yeah. And then there's white Posca in the sky. And I think I put some pencil shading on top. The background is alcohol markers. And then I thought I might as well try another thing with this. So I got out a stencil and traced around the little holes in the stencil and went in with an ultrafine Sharpie, I think it was. to do that background, and yeah, I think that works pretty well. I like how that came out. So those were in UFOs, UAPs, and other extraterrestrials. And then I have in Circulism #1 by AJ Quinnell. I did this page. This is a really fun book to work in. It was really relaxing. Towards the end of this, like in recent days, like in July, I needed some just mindless coloring. I started an exercise routine in the afternoon that just wipes me out, kind of. So I don't have a lot of energy in the late afternoon. So I've been doing a lot of that. So I did this page, and I used alcohol markers. I did follow the suggested colors, and I really love how that came out. So I think this is going to be a good book. I've heard good things about this series, so I think this will be good. That was that one, and then I have a couple more of those, and we're almost done. This is getting really long, I know. So I have 100 Patterns, Mindful Coloring. This is by Pixel Colorist. I saw this pretty recently on someone's channel, and I can't remember whose it was, but got these on Amazon. So I did the first couple of pages. This is just patterns, and I like patterns, so I went for this one. They look like this. So there's like black in between, which is very good because you don't have to worry about being precise in your squares or circles or whatever. It's fine. So it's very relaxing. You don't have to worry. Just put your colors down. I did follow the key. I like how this one came out. I also did this page, which is okay. I don't really love how the colors all came together. Probably that has to do with my choices. And I did add this dark blue here too. That wasn't in the original key, but it's okay. It was fun. It was relaxing and enjoyable to do. So that's the important thing. That was on 100 Patterns, Mindful Coloring by Pixel Colorist. And then the last book is 100 Color by Number Monochrome Mysteries. This is also by Pixel Colorist. And this is different. I saw this on the same channel as I saw the other one. And I thought this was really interesting and kind of up my alley. This is a book where you draw these little patterns where it's indicated by the number. And you end up with this page that looks like embroidery. It looks like black work to me. I really love that. And it's so much fun to do. It's really relaxing. So I did this sheep page. And I used, I think on this page I used a Stettler fine liner, black fine liner. Like in the Triplus fine liner series. Whatever they call it. And then I did this Blue Jay. And this was done with, I used my Pilot G2 gel pen. And that worked. They both worked just fine. But, isn't that cool? I don't know. I find these really, really fun to do. Yeah, this is what they look like. So you can kind of tell what they're supposed to be. And that is it. That is, what are we at? Oh my gosh, almost an hour. If you're still here watching this, I thank you so much for sticking and hanging in with me through this long video. We're done. This series is done. I'm so excited. Yeah, so on to hopefully a normal schedule. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my pages for these last few months, and I hope you enjoy your coloring coming up and all is well with you. And yeah, hope to see you in my next video.